iOS 26 comes with tons of new cool features like this. It's not just about the liquid glass redesign. No, there are tons of additional worthwhile features that you're gonna love. Trust me on this one. In this video, we're doing an in-depth walkthrough of all the major new features found in iOS 26. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this. But first, a word from our sponsor. 9 to 5 Mac on YouTube is sponsored by iMazing 3. This major version marked the beginning of a broader vision. Its aim to provide scalable, professional-grade tools for managing Apple mobile devices across personal, educational, and enterprise contexts. Paired with the iMazing Profile Editor and iMazing Configurator, this handy utility is quickly becoming the go-to solution for anything iOS, iPadOS, macOS, and soon more. It offers unparalleled control over Apple mobile devices. Users can browse and restore from backup snapshots, transfer data such as messages, WhatsApp chats, photos, and music, and access a robust set of utilities covering device diagnostics, app management, and more. Whether it's for personal use or fleet oversight, it remains the most capable iOS device manager available. Try iMazing today by visiting the link in the description. Special thanks to iMazing for sponsoring 9 to 5 Mac on YouTube. So the biggest new feature with iOS 26, besides its name, is the new liquid glass redesign. The first such redesign that we've had since iOS 7. And this is a dramatic redesign, let me tell you, because it does evoke feelings of glass, and transparency is just dominant across the whole UI. So for example, these tabs down here, normally you can just tap them, but you can also swipe between them, and notice how the glass effect refracts and distorts the light, as you can see there. As you move it across each of the tabs, notice the edges of the tabs and how they are distorted as the light, simulated of course, passes through the glass, causing that effect. And that's something you're going to notice throughout the entire UI, but it really stands out on the tabs. You also notice it here on the copy paste menu, and instead of swiping through, now these menus expand like this for quick access to other options, which is really nice. And for certain buttons, their options will be presented right where you tap. And also notice the corner radius of the rounded rects, which are similar to the corner radius of the iPhone itself. And you also notice differences in the way that light responds when switching between light mode and dark mode, for instance. And you also notice that the address bar in Safari now automatically gets bigger or minimizes like that as you scroll. But what's really interesting is when you hover over dark contents versus light contents, you'll notice that it changes to correspond to what's underneath. So you'll see those colors coming through that content just like that. Really nice effect. And like I said, you're going to find this all throughout iOS 26. You'll find it on the edges of the icons. You'll find it, for instance, in folders like this. You'll notice content shine through certain buttons within the media player. It's really cool. Sometimes there are legibility issues, but I think those will probably be worked out over time. iOS 26 also brings you clear app icons to go along with the new liquid glass. So you can see when you go to customize your home screen, there's a new clear option, and you can choose between dark and light mode on those clear icons as well. So again, the same principle applies basically. You see how the light and the colors shine through those icons as you go over that new iOS 26 wallpaper, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. You can see the differences between the dark icons and the light icons. What do you guys think about these? Let me know down below in the comments. Now, here's one of my favorite things, the new dynamic lock screen. Notice how the clock will automatically dynamically change to either stretch or compress. Shout out Daisy. Just put our cat down today. Sad, but yeah, so you can see how the clock automatically adjusts based on the content of the wallpaper. And of course, you can go in and edit the lock screen and compress the clock or expand the clock yourself manually. And you can choose between the different clock styles. But of course, that first one is the only one that can expand or compress. You also can switch between solid and glass. Solid's going to give you a color. Glass just gives you that translucent glass look. You can also change the font weight using this little slider here. So I like that. Let's go ahead and try that out. Let's go ahead and save that. And you'll still see the dynamic lock screen adjust based on what's in view. That's really cool. Now, I spoke briefly about it earlier, but the new iOS 26 wallpaper is multi-layers of glass, similar to the icons that you get on your home screen that have multi-layers of the liquid glass effect, and there's a light and dark version of that, and it looks good with those clear icons. But here, folks, is something really neat. A new feature called Spatial Scenes on the lock screen. So watch what happens when I tap the Spatial Scenes button. So this will take a 2D photo and add depth to it. So when you move your phone around like this, you get an Apple Vision Pro-esque spatial photo right there on the lock screen. And this is also available within the Photos app as well. But it just looks really cool. If you get the right photo on the lock screen, it looks really great, especially with that clock in the background. Yeah, Apple wasn't joking when they referred to this as a dynamic lock screen, because this really brings it to life in a way that we didn't have before. What do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comment section. But that's not where it stops on the lock screen. No, you also get animated album artwork. Now, animated album artwork isn't new. That's something we've had in the music app for a long time now. However, having that same animated artwork on the lock screen, yeah, that is new. So you can see the time and the date even gets out of the way to view your album artwork, the animated variety. So again, iOS 26 brings much more life to the lock screen. Okay, so now visual intelligence on-screen content. So visual intelligence isn't a new feature. We have the camera control button that allows you to use that on the iPhone 15 Pro, the 16 Era devices, etc. But now visual intelligence can be accessed via the screenshot interface. So when you take a screenshot, obviously you get the markup interface right there. You can just dismiss that here, and now you get visual intelligence buttons like ChatGPT, Google Image Search, and other automatic Apple Intelligence data as well. So this was able to identify this as a chicken, which it obviously is. If I tap Image Search, you see an inline search for Google Images. So I can just tap on that and it all stays in line, which is really nice. And then of course you have ChatGPT. So you tap Ask, and now you can ask any question related to the image. So I just say, what is this? And no surprise there, this is a chicken. Thanks, ChatGPT. But it doesn't stop there with visual intelligence. Now, for instance, if I'm searching for a concert, I take a screenshot here, and look what automatically appears: a link to the website and an Add to Calendar button. So if I tap Add to Calendar, it automatically populates the necessary fields like the day, the date, the time. Put that in there, and I can quickly add that to my calendar just like that. And it even lets me reference the original image just by tapping there. But what if you have a lot of stuff on screen? How does it know what you want to focus on? Well, there's highlight to search. So I'm just going to draw a circle around what I want to focus on. You see the little lasso. Now swipe up for image search, and bam, it identifies that item. So it properly identifies the Cyan Burst 9060s from New Balance. So that's a really, really handy feature for visual intelligence in iOS 26. And with intelligent actions in the Shortcuts app, you can tap directly into these LLMs, just like this. So you can access private cloud, you can access your own device model, or you can use extensions like ChatGPT. That's really cool. So you can combine this with all sorts of other actions and generate a shortcut that can tap into the power of these models. So I can just tap here, choose the model we want to use. In this case, I can say, let's use ChatGPT. And I'll just make something really rudimentary here, just for an example, how to make egg salad, and it gives me the results from ChatGPT. But I can change model if I want to do that. So instead of using ChatGPT, we're going to use private cloud compute and run that again. But obviously, you would make a much more complex shortcut, and I can only imagine how many crazy ideas people are going to come up with. In iOS 26, you also get mixed emoji. So now I can combine two different emoji using a sort of a image playground interface now. So I'll just select the first one, select the second one, and it combines those two. Your results may vary, but yeah, that's kind of the point. Let's go ahead and try another. So we're just gonna add this heart, disco ball, and a angry face. So you have an angry heart with a disco ball. Let's remove the disco ball. Now you just have an angry face. Oh, that's really cool. See, I can definitely dig that one. All right, so we're gonna keep that one. Let's try another. You could also combine text along with it as well, as you see there. Kind of like that one. Now, speaking of image playgrounds, you get new ChatGPT styles. First and foremost though, a new image playgrounds icon. Yes, thankfully, that's such a much better icon than before. So happy to have that. But now in image playgrounds, you can of course create your recipe. And instead of the basic style, the animation, illustration, sketch, now you can tap directly into Genmoji, or you can tap into a ChatGPT style. So you have any of these styles you can choose: oil painting, watercolor, etc. Unfortunately, I've exceeded my free daily limit for ChatGPT. Here's something I've really been wanting: polls and messages. So let me show you. iPad OS 26 looks ... And we're going to tap the plus button, select polls. It looks great. It looks just okay. Or it looks meh. Send that to Fernando. You already know how he's going to respond. He's not going to appreciate me even including just okay or meh. Of course, he says great, right? Yeah, I admit it's great. But you can also add additional choices. In either party can add choices. So you could just add another one there, the bomb diggity. And if you long press, you can view poll details and see the stats of the poll. That's going to be super helpful. Now, you also get typing indicators for group messages. Finally, this is something I have been wanting for years, and we finally have typing indicators in a group message, as you can see right here. The only thing I wish we had now is typing indicators in the status bar for when you don't actually have the Messages app open. That would be really cool. But the Messages app gets lots of love in iOS 26, including backgrounds. So watch this. Fernando's going to add a background, and you can see right there it says Fernando has changed the background. So that's really cool. So all parties involved on the chat will be able to see that, and you can see it's animated as well. So I'm going to change the background. So I'm just going to tap the name, and then I can go to backgrounds, and you see the suggested backgrounds, ones from your photo library. You also have these up here: color, sky, water. There's also suggestions, and you can generate backgrounds using image playgrounds. So I'm just going to create a recipe, and I can swipe through to change the color and tap accept. And there is my background, and Fernando sees that on his device as well. This is wild, huh? What do you guys think about backgrounds? I'm kind of digging it. There's also live translation. So say I'm talking to someone, they speak a different language. I can go up to info, enable automatically translate, and then choose my language. So in this case, let's go ahead and download Spanish. All right, so I'll type a message, say something in Spanish, and it automatically translates that into Spanish for the recipient. And when he sends me something in Spanish, it'll translate back to English. And by the way, live translation,
please re-record your message at the tone,
also works in the phone app.
La traduction est activée pour cet appel.
Thank you very much.
Merci beaucoup.
What time is it?
Quelle heure est-il?
Let's talk about it later.
Parlons-en plus tard.
There's also a new call screening feature in iOS 26. You can access it via the phone settings, and when you scroll down, you'll see calls from unknown numbers. So you have the screen incoming calls options. So calls from unsaved numbers will be asked for more information before the phone rings. So we'll use the screening feature. I want to demonstrate this for you right now. Check it out.
Hi, if you record your name and reason for calling, I'll see if this person is available.
So when an unknown number calls, it'll ask for details first. Hi, this is Jeff. I'm calling because I want you to subscribe to 9 to 5 Mac. So now I can tap view and actually see what the caller is saying.
Thanks, Jeff. Please stay on the line.
And even type a reply.
They said, nah, bro, you can leave a message after the tone.
Dang, you gonna do me like that?
Pretty slick little feature, wouldn't you agree?
Hi, this is Jeff. I'm calling because I want you to subscribe to 9to5 Mac. Hey, you gonna do me like that?
You also have screening in messages, and this is really something that I've been wanting for a very long time. Advanced spam filtering within messages. So it can filter out all sorts of different things. You'll see text message filter here. So it will sort those messages into categorized list automatically for you. And here are all the various categories. So time sensitive, personal, transactions, promotionals, and of course you also have just regular spam as well. So you can enable those, and now these messages will be filtered automatically within those categories. So I'm on my messages. I don't want to show all those there, but the point is, when you tap the filter button, you'll see all the different categories. So you can switch to unknown, or you can switch over to transactions and all the different types of transactions within that category. There's promotions as well. And of course, there's also a spam category. Super handy. Now let me show you Hold Assist.
Recorded and transcribed for evaluation to train personnel and to improve contact center technologies. I'm an automated system that can handle complete sentences. So tell me, how can I help you?
So in a real world scenario, when you're actually placed on hold, if you tap the Hold Assist button, you can go about your business like normal, use your phone, and you'll be notified when it's time to pick the phone call back up. So you'll actually see within this little box here, you can see Ashley's actually trying to reach out to me right now. I need to pick it up so that I can continue the conversation. That's going to save you a whole lot of time. Auto Mix in the Music app is a new feature that builds on the transition feature when moving from one song to another. Now see where it says paused? Notice this. As you switch between songs, it'll mix that. It'll actually beat match and change the tempo of the songs to match like a real DJ. Unfortunately, I can't let you hear it. There's also lyric translation. This is super nice. So I love Utada. Some of her music is classic. Sakura drops. So you can see right here, you can actually sing along to that with pronunciation. So you can actually know how to say that using Romanized English, basically. You can hide the punctuation like that if you want to, or show it so you can get your singing on. But this is actually a two-pronged feature, because while you can show how you pronounce a particular song, you can also show the translation of certain songs as well. So this song is in Spanish, and it'll actually translate it right below the lyrics so you can understand what's being said. And maybe once you learn what the lyrics are, you decide not to listen to that song anymore. Who knows? But it's a nice feature to have, to know exactly what you're listening to. Now, the Preview app also comes to iOS 26, and this is something we've been wanting for a very long time. Preview is something I use every single day on the Mac, and now to finally have this on iOS, it just seems like a foregone conclusion. But basically, this is where you can go just to preview everything, like images or PDFs, and other types of content as well. This will probably get even more in-depth as time goes on. But you can see you can mark up images, you can rotate, adjust the size, and more. You could also use the Preview app to create an image. So if I just tap right here, new empty image, so I can mark that up if I want to, or I can paste other content within that image. And something that came to the Files app in iOS 26, and by extension the Preview app, is the ability to use disclosure triangles when viewing a folder as a list. So now you don't have to actually tap into that folder. You can actually view all the contents just by using the disclosure triangle, which is so nice. And of course, this being Preview, you can go in, mark up PDFs, view PDFs if you want to do that, view information about the PDF, etc. So having a Preview app, Super, super nice to have. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Now, there's also another new app, and it's called the Games app. And basically what this is a culmination of the Apple Arcade and Game Center all into one. So basically, you can view your library, you can download additional games, you can view all the Apple Arcade titles there as well. You have your multiplayer or your play together section where you can go and play online. So basically, this is just an all-encompassing area for games, specifically for games, not apps. So you can go in here and start a game, start playing it directly from the Games app, just tap the play button. Or if you don't already have the game downloaded, you can tap Get and it will download that app. You don't have to actually go to the App Store separately. You just do it all from here. It gives you all the details, whether controller is supported, etc., leaderboards, all that. Like I said, all encompassing game application right here on iOS 26. So you just tap play, it opens up the game, and now you'll notice a new overlay that appears for games as well. So if I swipe down here, you'll see game overlay. Just tap right here, and I get that game overlay that gives me details about the game. I could change display, sound, turn on game mode, connect to a controller, etc. Now, if you own AirPods Pro 2 or AirPods 4, you have HD recording via AirPods. You also get this nice little new overlay that appears in iOS 26, but you have to upgrade to the AirPods beta, so make sure you do that first in order to use this feature. But now you can see you can use your AirPods as an audio input. And in general, in iOS 26, you can quickly switch inputs like this when you have a microphone connected. Let's check it out. So now I'm using AirPods Pro, sort of like a wireless lock, right? So it's sort of like one of these things right here. And this is the Wireless Pro from Rode. Obviously, this is a whole nother level of quality, but this is going to give you pretty good quality. These AirPods are going to give you much better quality at a distance than you would from the built-in microphone on your iPhone. That's for sure. So I can even go behind the camera like this, and you see it's still going to pick up my voice really well. And you can see me tapping on the microphone like that. And it's probably going to pick up all this noise and static. But that's the really cool thing about it, is that basically you're turning your AirPods. It's got to be one of the most versatile products that Apple offers right now. Hands down. These are so versatile. It's crazy. AirPods also gained the ability to be used as a camera remote, sort of like the old EarPods with the inline remote could be used in the same way. So if you're running the AirPods Pro 2 beta, you'll see camera control and camera remote under that. So now you have the option to press and hold or press once to initiate the shutter or start a video. Depending on which one you choose, either media controls or your listening mode controls will be overridden with this new control. So that's just something to keep in mind, but this is nice. So I'm going to use the camera remote. I'm going to press once to start a recording in the camera app. So I'm going to switch over to video mode. Might as well just go ahead and make the AirPods Pro my microphone. So take advantage of both new features now. So just press to start recording. What's up guys, Jeff Benjamin with 9to5Mac. Be sure to hit that subscribe button for more. And press again to stop recording. Now I showed you spatial scenes for lock screen wallpaper, but did you know that you also have spatial scenes within the Photos app? So these photos don't need to be shot on an iPhone. I actually took this with my Sony camera, but iOS is still able to generate a spatial scene from this photo. So I'm going to switch over to spatial scene. You notice it kind of zooms in a little bit, uses that depth data to give you a nice 3D image when you move around your phone. Just like that. That is such a cool feature. And no special hardware needed. No special cameras. It's just ready to go. So that is super impressive. Again, it's sort of Vision Pro-like. One of the cool things about Vision Pro is you can create a spatial photo out of a regular photo. Well, you can kind of do that now in iOS 26. And speaking of photos, the Photos app brings back tabs. Yes, so now you have your library and your collections tab. Two tabs at the bottom. You can easily switch between the two so they're not all mismatched. So it's easy to separate your library content from your collections content and vice versa. And when you go to collections, of course, you have your various media types and all your various collections. You can reorder those if you choose to do so as well. I really like having those separate, to be honest with you. And on your library, of course, you can go in and filter just like you could before. You have your various view options. And within that library, you can view by month, year, etc. So it's nice that Apple seems to have compromised a bit with the updated Photos app. And if you're a journal fan, you'll love this news. Yes, multiple journals within the Journals app, so I can create a whole separate journal for the flowers that I like to document, if that's what you like to document. So you can do that without mixing them all in to your other journals. So if I want to talk about pansies and I want to talk about daffodils, I can do that in its own dedicated journal. And I don't get it all mixed up with my Dear Diary stuff, you know what I mean? Oh, and yeah, the journal app is on the iPad now. And if you ever wanted to have more snooze options, I have some good news for you. Now in the Clock app, when you go to your alarms tab, you tap on an alarm, you have snooze duration. Now you can choose between 1 minute and 15 minutes. That's such a nice feature to have. And here's something really cool: automatic categorization for reminders. Now, this may sound boring, but watch what this can do. So I'm going to go in and create a whole bunch of random items in this reminders list. I mean, just totally random stuff: hippo, toad, broccoli, Mario, squirrel, you know. So just a bunch of random stuff. But watch what happens. I tap the ellipsis, select auto categorize, and look what it does using Apple Intelligence. It'll automatically categorize those by animals, food, and it even knows all these other ones are video games. Folks, that's what I like to call real world handy. What do you guys think? So that has been a hands-on look at all the major new features in iOS 26. We'll be back with much more to come. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Special thanks to iMazing for sponsoring 9to5Mac. iMazing Profile Editor 2 introduces Total App Setup, an automatic configuration engine that detects and sets up required permissions and entitlements for macOS apps. This time-saving utility reduces errors in complex deployment scenarios and reinforces iMazing's role in professional Apple IT environments. For system administrators and enterprise IT, iMazing Configurator adds powerful capabilities for provisioning, supervising, and automating Apple iOS device setup at scale. 9to5Mac. It also streamlines MDM enrollment and migration processes. Integrated with iMazing and Profile Editor, it completes a deployment suite trusted by public institutions, enterprises, and IT professionals worldwide. Try iMazing today by visiting the link in the description. Special thanks to iMazing for sponsoring 9to5Mac on YouTube.